How's it going, laser bruisers? Up, Bobby Sixkilla. Welcome back to Ever 17. We're in our final moments here, because this place is about to self-destruct, but hopefully we can get a little bit of information out of it before we end up dying. It's just us and you now. Don't know where everybody else has gone. We may not see them again, I don't know. Oh, what was that exclamation mean? Could it be that could this be a message from the outside? What? Suddenly the monitor displayed an image. It was a shaky video mixed with static. When the screen finally settled down, it showed a face of a girl that I did not recognize. Mother? Was this person... Was she Yu's mother? No. You're not, are you? You're not really my mother, are you? That's right. I'm not your mother. You are terrible. How could you lie to me all this time? I can't talk about that yet. Why not? You've deceived me all along, and you even want to hide the truth now? I never deceived you. I may not be able to call myself your mother, but you really are my child. You were born of my body. Don't lie to me. I'm sorry, you. After you come up here, I will tell you. Here? Where is here? Where are you? I'm on Incel Null, the floating island. Huh? What are you talking about? What are you... The woman vanished from the screen. Then a man appeared, but we're about to die. We're about to start operating the high-pressure gas input fan from the floating island. It will remove the water from the emergency stairs near the central area and the emergency corridor connected to them. The estimated time of completion is 9:30 PM, 3 hours from now. When the water is cleared, we want you to climb the emergency stairs to the surface island. Please remain where you are until then. Who are you? I will explain everything once you're up here. It's not the kind of thing that we should talk about via a display. But you, there is one thing I want you to know. Your mother loves you more than anything. Please don't forget that. Sounds like we're getting out. Eventually the others straggled to the control room. Takeshi, Sara, Tsugumi and Sora. I told them about the message we just had. The others couldn't hide their surprise. It was such unexpected good news. Some of them even thought it might be a trap. Of course, that's what I thought at first too. My skeptical mind wanted to ask, why now? We felt like a trick might still be being played on us, but we had no other choice but to go along with it. Yeah, we got no other options, right? There were only a few hours left until Lemu imploded. There were no other options left for us. We moved from to the conference room and waited for time that the water would be cleared. The 6 of us said hardly anything. Everyone just stared off into space, waiting impatiently for time to pass. Yu slumped back in the chair and stared blankly at the ceiling. She looked like a puppet with its strings cut. The room was tense with anticipation. I couldn't handle it and decided to... I guess we'll talk with you. Hey, you. Hey, you. Huh? What? Did you just call me? Yeah. Would you mind leaving me alone right now? I don't really feel like talking about anything. I'm sorry, but there's something that I want to think through. I understand. I'm sorry to bug you. I figured that it must be a real shock for her to find out the lady had been pretending to be her mother. It looked like all of our guesses had been right on the target. Finally, the appointed time arrived. We climbed the second floor and stood at the emergency corridor. Then we began walking to the central core. Finally, we reached a dead end. The watertight door was shut from there because the area had been filled with seawater before. The door swung open. The water was gone. The corridor was dry and we continued heading toward the center. Sara, Takeshi and Tsugumi walked ahead. Yu, Sora and I walked a few dozen meters behind them. Hey, where are we? Hey, we're going ahead. It seems like Takeshi had already reached the emergency stairs. Sara, Takeshi and Tsugumi disappeared up the stairs, but immediately after that... Oh no. This is bad. Water is flooding in. Sector 3, the partition on the emergency corridor is collapsing. Water is rushing in, 103 feet ahead. The sound of rushing water could be heard in the distance. Hey, it's this cutscene again. That's a good one. It's no good, we won't make it. Go back now. The door leading to the emergency stairs was swallowed in water. You, what are you doing? Run, now! Okay. Now hang on. I grabbed Yu's hand and doubled back. We fled to the security office. Yu, Sora and I were there. It looked like flooding had subsided. According to Sora, there were only a few dry areas left in the complex. A message came from outside. The other 3 are fine. Are you alright? Yeah, I think so. That flooding was apparently a miscalculation on our part. I don't think we got the partition strength wrong. So, we don't know what caused it. What do you want us to do now? For now, just wait there. We'll come up with something soon. Can't you use the high pressure gas fan to get rid of the water again? Actually, no. The thing won't work, and we're not sure why. What? I'm having trouble hearing you. Static had broken up part of the message and I hadn't caught it. It looked like another crisis had struck. From the speaker on their side, we heard a lot of hurried noise and a rush of air. What is that real? Is that... Blickkel? Blickwinkle is here? And then the communications were cut off. Sora? With a solemn look, Sora shook her head. Damn it, we were almost there. Why this? Why did this happen to us? I punched the console. I don't get any of this. What is that? Blickwinkle. Hey Sora, what does that mean? Sora shook her head again. I sighed and sat down in a chair. You slumped in the chair next to me. I looked at the monitor. It displayed the life reading for the complex. Life reading's 3. Huh? 3? I wondered why. Only you, Sarah, and I were left in Lemur. And Sora, the bioscan shouldn't pick her up. What is this? Is this broken? What does this mean, Sora? I don't know. I know that something is happening, but I haven't been informed what. I stood up from my chair. Just then my elbow bumped an empty can on the table. The can fell to the floor and rolled to the wall. Is the floor... The floor is tilting. Hey Sora, can you display the map of Lemur? Something that had cross-sectional display of the structure. Yes. A map of Lemur appeared on the monitor. It's like I thought. Lemur was slanting. But the tilt of the complex didn't really mean anything. Thankfully, it didn't look like it was affecting our chances of survival. Hey you, what do you think we should do now? You? You was completely spaced out. Didn't even look like my voice was reaching her brain. It seemed that the light from this world had been extinguished from her eyes. Daybreak. The date had changed to Sunday, May 7th. Since that time, we hadn't slept at all. I was starting to feel badly again. A headache, dizziness, nausea and coldness felt like they were seeping in from deep in the core of my body. I felt a dull, severe fatigue sweep over me. I was only half conscious. Exhaustion. I'd reached my limit. But I tried to keep my energy from being sapped away. Surrounded by darkness and endless fear, we'd fought our way this far. And there was no sign that things were going to get better. Communication lines with the outside were still down, and we'd yet to find a clue leading to possible escape. You remained distant and spacey. Our optimistic leader that had helped us through the days of distress was nowhere to be seen. Someone had to save her. But who? Of course it was up to me. At this point, I was the only person who could help her. There's no one else here. Yet still... Promise? Yeah, I promise. The memory of that pledge remains stark in my mind. Sora? Yes, what can I do for you? I'm sorry to ask, but could you leave me alone with you for a second? Certainly. When we're done, I'll call you. Okay. I'm really sorry. Please don't worry about it. Thanks. Sora vanished. All traces of her completely disappeared. Sora, who had no dimensional limits, had removed herself from our field of vision. Now then. But she can still hear us, right? Before continuing, I went to set the coffee machine to make fresh coffee. You're drinking coffee, right? Ignoring her lack of response, I set it to prepare 2 cups. Then I sat down beside her. About your mother, I mean... I don't know what to say, but... Don't you think it's important to talk things over with her? There may be some reason she did what she did. Look, she said she didn't explain it. She'd explain everything once you're back on the floating island, so... How dare you say that? Like you know how this feels. There's nothing left for me to say to her. Besides, it doesn't matter anymore. I don't care what happens. Look, we still gotta find a way to escape this place somehow. Yeah? Why? Because I made you a promise. How are you gonna keep it? Do you have some great plan to get us out of here? Well, that's what I want to figure out. I bet. Look, we have to survive. Over these last 7 days, I've learned so much from you. In so many ways I can't even begin to count. But out of everything I learned from you, the most important thing is how to live. You have to live life to the fullest. That's what you taught me. So I want to put that lesson into practice. I want to live to the fullest, to the end. It was a heartfelt plea. Listen, kid. Yeah? What does it mean to live anyway? Well, living means to learn and to know, I think. A child is born in innocence, gains knowledge through the years, only to forget it all when it's old and dies. Over the previous 7 days, my life has been filled with things that I have learned. From amnesia to emptiness, and emptiness my life began. But looking back over the last 7 days, there was one more thing. I also think that to live also means to lose something. They say nothing ventured, nothing gained, but to gain something, you must lose something. Like me losing the past by losing my memory. Even though I've lost much, I'd also gained to learn, to lose something? So you're saying that we live only to get hurt? Maybe. I don't know. Well, if living means to be hurt, then I've had enough. I've had more than my share of hurt. And I've had enough of life, so... Hey, wait a second. What are you trying to say, you? You're not saying you want to die. You can't be serious. What the hell's that all about? I can't believe you're saying that. It's not like you at all. What happened to the you a little while ago that was so ready to get out of here? What happened to that you? Come on, what gives? What came over you all of a sudden? Why do you think you were born anyway? Stop it. Would you stop with the stupid 2-bit sermon? No, it's you who's talking stupid. All this selfish crap, as if your life belongs only to you. That's not what I was thinking. I don't think that, it's just... all this time, the mother who I thought brought me into this world, she's gone. But that other lady said she was your real mother. Well, she's obviously lying. How do you know? Because she's been lying to me from the start. Don't you think that's a little pointless right now? I mean, you do understand, don't you? That until you hear her side of the story, you can't go jumping to conclusions. I think you should live the best life you can for all the people around you who care about you. For your mother, and for Sarah, and Takeshi as well, and for me. For you? I said it before, but there's so much that I've learned from you. I'm so very grateful to you. Really. You're a friend, a guardian, a teacher, and... I walked back to the coffee machine and poured 2 cups of coffee. You said earlier that you'd already lived enough, right? But I don't think it's enough. Because I think there's still stuff you need to learn. You mean about my mother? That's one thing, yeah. By the way, how much sugar do you take? Not listening, I added 2 spoonfuls. I was thinking, don't you think sugar and coffee reminds you of something? You know, something that life depends on. Huh? Do you have any idea? I guess not. See, that's 2 things. Things you don't know that you should learn. Makes you want to know, doesn't it? A little, I guess. Well, if we get out of here alive, I'll tell you what it is. I added milk and sugar and carried the 2 cups over. There you go. Thanks. You took the cup and silently sipped from it. How's it taste? Were my feelings finally getting across to her? It's very sweet. She had a clear, gentle smile, like the sun shining just after a rain. Yeah, that's too much sugar. I called Sora back into the room. All survivors remaining inside the park were now present. The 3 of us began to discuss new strategies. The walls of Lamu would only hold 2 more hours at most. Our last possible escape route had been shut off, filling with floodwater just a few hours earlier. All hope of communicating with the outside was gone. The situation had become so desperate that I could no longer expect you or Sora to find an escape route. Is there anything we can do? You lifted the coffee cup to her lips as she spoke. Her cup now contained only black coffee. She'd refilled it herself. Watching her drink, I went to take a sip from my own cup, but I found it empty. To pour myself more, I walked back to the coffee machine. You guys are going to be addicted after this like I am. The machine was an interesting contraption, with a lower chamber containing boiling water heated from an alcohol lamp. The steam from the boiling water was siphoned up into the upper chamber through a central pipe. Siphon. I got it. Sora, could you show me that cross-sectional diagram again? What? It's this perpendicular line coming down from the floating island. It's gotta be the elevator tube, right? It's the emergency stairwell. This area wasn't dry earlier. No, but I was able to drain it yesterday, so... When the flooding started, the watertight doors in the emergency stairwell automatically closed. Therefore, the emergency stairs did not allow water in after it had finished draining. So it was thanks to the safety doors closing automatically that Takeshi, Sarah, and Tsugumi survived. How far is it from this room to the emergency stairwell? Approximately 240 feet. Really? 240 feet, huh? I just want to confirm this, but if you were to climb those emergency stairs, you could escape up to the floating island, right? That is correct. And the safety doors to the emergency stairwell can be opened manually. It is possible. Slow down, kid, what are you saying? What I'm saying is, to escape by going through the emergency stairwell, maybe... There you go again, coming up with another stupid idea. Why does she always poo-poo our ideas immediately? Yeah, maybe we're talking out our ass, but at least we're fucking trying, come on. Look right here. Can't you see the blue colour there? So? That means the corridor leading to the emergency stairs is totally underwater. Yeah, I know that. Come on, you can't be serious. There's no way you're thinking about swimming there, eh? I think that's the first time I ever heard you make a mistake. I wasn't going to say that. There's no way I can swim 240 feet underwater. Well, how do you expect to reach the emergency stairs then? First, let's go to the emergency stairwell that connects to the floating island, staircase A. Let's call the Sector 4 emergency stairwell here, staircase B. And the emergency corridor connected to staircase A will be corridor C. And the point is, we need to drain the water out of the corridor, right? Once that's done, we can just skip our way to staircase A. You say it as if it would be the easiest thing in the world, but there's no way we can do that if you ask me. We can do it. Yeah, how? First of all, there isn't anywhere to drain the floodwater in corridor C. But there is a place. Down the emergency stairs on the B emergency stairs. The dry area in Sector 4. Are you really that dumb? Water only flows from high to low with the help of gravity. That's the third time you made me say that. I know. So why do you keep up this stupid argument? What, are you thinking about scooping all the water out with a bucket? Not scooping it out. The opposite. Huh? We're going to release the floodwater from Sector 8. Kid, can I ask you one simple little question? Sure. Wouldn't doing that put the security office and the entire surrounding area completely underwater? That's right. I should have noticed the warning signs. It's okay. There, kid. There's nothing to worry about now. Everything's going to be okay. I'll take care of you. Now be a good little boy. You started patting my head. I snapped with anger. Alright then, I'll prove it to you. I dashed out and ran to the warehouse. I found a bucket and a clear plastic hose and drilled a hole in the bucket. Sticking the hose in the hole, I used duct tape to wrap and seal it. Then I hunted up 2 more buckets. We're very well supplied around here for scientific demonstrations. With the goods in hand, I returned to the security office. Huh? What's that? It's something I threw together to test my idea. I don't get it. What does that thing have to do with what we're talking about? Listen, first this bucket up here, the one with the hose stuck in it, it represents Sector 8 where we are, okay? Next, the hose part that's filled with water represents Corridor C, leading to Staircase A. Finally, the bucket set down low represents the 4th block on the 3rd floor, and the empty hose part hanging down is Staircase B. Just to let you know, the bent hose part represents the connecting the corridor joining up Corridor C with Staircase B, okay? Okay. I got you so far, so then what? Before I show you, I want to make sure of one thing. If we drain the water filling the hose here, then we can move safely to the emergency stairs, right? Yeah, I guess. Alright, let the draining begin. Remember what I said earlier? I think you said we're going to release the floodwater from Sector 8, right? So let's release it. Next I began to pour water into the top bucket from the 2nd bucket, which I had filled with water from the corridor. In no time at all, the top bucket was full. Next, the water from the top bucket flowed down the hose, pushing the air out of the hose and flowing into the lower bucket. Before long, all the water was drained. Except for a negligible amount left in the hose, all the water from the top bucket drained completely into the lower bucket. And that's how it works. This is how a siphon works. Okay, let's prove this one more time by looking at the map. The walls of Staircase A, Staircase B, Corridor C, and the area in Sector 4 are all intact without cracks or damage. So we can assume that all these areas are protected from outside seawater. Isn't that right, Sora? Yes. What will happen if we simultaneously open all the watertight doors in this submerged area in Sector 8 of White Stock? This room without cracks or damage. So an enormous amount of water is going to flow into Corridor C. And then what next? The water accumulated in Corridor C will drain into the dry area in Sector 4. And then what will happen? Probably something like your experiment just now. All the water in Corridor C as well as Sector 8 will flow into Sector 4, I guess. Yep, that's the plan. But do you really think it'll work? It's a hell of a lot better than nothing. I'm pretty sure it'll work. You better be pretty sure, because otherwise we're all gonna die. Well, it looks like already the water is coming in. And then... Are you ready to go? Sure. According to the color-coded map on the monitor, the Zweitstock Sector 8 and Corridor C had changed to green. The color green meant it was a dry area, meaning the drainage should work perfectly. There's very little time left before the estimated implosion time. You must hurry. Yeah, we know. Well, be careful. Huh? What about you, Sora? You're not coming? Listen, kid. Sora, she can't leave Limo. What? Have you forgotten? I'm an RSD-generated image. I'm just a computer program. I'm not able to join you. So I wanted to say goodbye and wish you the best of luck. Sora? Every encounter must have a parting. And even if I accompanied you as far as the floating island, we would eventually have to say goodbye there. In my case, the parting comes a little earlier than with everyone else, but... Kid, think about it like this. When you go to visit a friend's house, when it's time to leave, the friend may see you to the door, but the friend can't accompany you home, right? This place, Lemu, is my home. We'll meet again, won't we? Yes. I'm here, and I'm also elsewhere at the same time. Even if the me here disappears, the me there will still go on existing. Don't talk about disappearing. It's merely an example, you see. Don't worry. I'm sure that yourself, you, and I will meet again. And it may be sooner than you think. Do you promise? Yes. It's a promise then. Yes, it's a promise. Looking over Sora's shoulder at the monitor, I can see the number of life readings displayed there. Still 3, our flooding didn't kill anyone. You and I opened the security room doors and exited into the corridor. Giving a wave to the smiling Sora as she saw us off, we climbed the stairs to the emergency corridor. We then walked down Corridor C, which was no longer flooded. Hey, I was just thinking, but what about? Surely Sora isn't planning to take responsibility for the accident by dying here. Don't be stupid. Sora doesn't have a plan to sacrifice herself. Sora, you know, is different from us. No way, Sora's not... I don't mean it that way. Anyway, what you're worried about isn't going to happen to her. How can you be so sure? Maybe it's the way Lieblich programmed her? Here we go again. Listen, this is what I heard from Mayo, but before she was hacking the source data, Mayo said that she rewrote one line of code. In Sora's programming, there is a priority list of preferential actions. Mayo rewrote one of those. What was that? She must protect, above all else, herself. She must value herself most. At last, we arrived at the door leading to the emergency stairs. Alright, I'm gonna open it. Okay. You put a hand on the door handle. Come on, help me turn it. Oh, right. Together we gripped the handle. It was then that it happened. A sudden metallic sound resonated behind us. I turned around quickly. At the end of the corridor stood the girl. Our eyes met. And then a name flashed in my mind as clear as a bell. Coco. Huh? Coco? Who's Coco? Turning on her heels, Coco ran off in the other direction. I turned to chase after her, but you grabbed my arm, holding me back. Come on, let's go. There's still someone here. We can't just leave her here. You're just imagining things. Forget about it. The walls began to creak and groan. Here and there, water began to leak in. Coco? Kid, stop. Tearing myself away from Yu's grasp, I ran after the girl. Yu came dashing after me. Through the voice alternator came Sora's warning voice. The pressure on the partitions has increased beyond their limit. You must return quickly. No way. How long? How much longer will they hold? 10 to 15 minutes. There's no way to be sure. The wall could collapse at any moment. For one instant, I saw the back of the girl. She continued running down the corridor. With all my strength, I burst after her. The main building lights flickered and went out, but they were replaced with dim emergency lights. With the help of the pale lights, I kept up the chase. I bounded down the emergency stairs and burst out into a normal corridor. I ran and ran with all my power. I ran to the end of a narrow corridor, in front of a small door. It was there that I caught up to her. She stood with her back to the door. I'd caught her. Come on, we're going together. The girl shook her head. Inching forward, I pressed close to her. But to my surprise, huh? After a moment, oh shit, something door, the girl, as if being absorbed into, the door, disappeared. Weird. Out of breath, you closed in on me. Oh, I finally caught up with you. And what about the girl or whatever? I stood there as if in a trance. Coming back to myself, I tried to open the door to Himmel, but the door wouldn't budge. Sora, open this door. That's impossible. The door is out of my jurisdiction. I pounded on the door. Coco? From the surface of the walls, water began to gush in. Less than 5 minutes left. They won't hold much longer. Emergency warning. All patrons in the park and all staff are advised to evacuate immediately. 5 minutes until implosion. The announcement repeated itself in German, French, and Japanese. Damn it, open up. Open this door. Didn't you promise to save Yuri? We should go. Otherwise she's gonna die with us. I struck with my fists. Open up. Listen, kid, you gotta snap out of it. Wake up. I pounded fiercely against the door with my clenched fists. But no matter how hard I tried, it was in vain. Is she just my imagination? If I keep this up, what's gonna happen to you? Exactly. I thought that you would die if I don't do something. Kid? I'm sorry, you. I strained to speak, squeezing out my words. Okay, let's go. I reached out my hand to you. Phew, finally. You gave my hand a squeeze back. One last time I looked back at the door, then turned and ran with all my might. We sprinted as hard as our legs would carry us, splashing through the water as it gushed like a waterfall. I ran with everything I had. These hands gripped mine tightly. 3 minutes until implosion. Bounding up the emergency stairs, we reached White Stock. We ran hard down the emergency corridor. 2 minutes until implosion. We applied our strength together and pushed open the emergency stairwell door. Closing the door tightly, we headed up the long set of stairs. 1 minute until implosion. In the distance, the sign read, Erste Boden, first floor. There's 50 more feet. 30 seconds. 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7. We ran toward the final door. The door wouldn't open. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The darkness was pierced by a ferocious sound, like the roar of a dragon, or possibly the last agonizing cry before death. Did we die? Did we get you killed? I'd feel like an asshole if we got you killed. May 7th. That's when we were meant to die. On the floating island. The morning sun stained the sky, land and ocean. It was the first time we'd laid eyes on the blue sky and bright sunlight in 7 days. In the distance, Sara and Takeshi played together. It appeared as if they were pretending to sword fight with a couple of sticks. Apparently, Takeshi had been routed by Sara's sword. I gazed dreamily at the two as they played. Tsugumi was nowhere to be seen. After the escape, she disappeared. And as for you, she sat beside me, gazing at the morning sun. Her eyes misted with tears. It was her first time to see the sun in 7 days. Long shadows from her figure and mine cast at length behind us. Yes, we'd successfully escaped from that water-entrenched labyrinth. I kept my promise, don't you think? I turned and asked you. Well, the first one, at least. You answered. You kept her gaze on the rising sun as she answered. The first one, to protect her. And the second? The thing that reminds you about life. Sugar and coffee. Ah, that! The thing that life depends on, didn't you say? Uh-huh. You promised to tell me. Okay, in that case, let me ask you. What are some things on which life depends? Water, air, food, housing, clothing, money? Okay, what else? Knowledge, maybe? Well, I guess there's that too. Humans can't live forever in innocence, though. To live comfortably, humans also need certain impurities, things that are granted by knowledge. I guess you could compare those things with the milk you put in the coffee. But there's one more thing. Like the sugar in the coffee, we need one more thing. What could it be? How does sugar taste? Sweet. It's a wonderful taste, right? So humans can never live entirely alone. You still don't get it? People can only know sweetness when they join together. Love. You then squeezed my right hand, and I pulled her close to me. You buried her face in my chest. From Yu's long hair I could smell her fragrance, the fragrance of sunlight. It is sweet, isn't it? The sun, my sun, which is clear and fresh, flowing with brilliance. Tinged with sweetness, the smell of spring enveloped us completely. That better not be the end. We didn't get enough answers. Who's the lady that Yu's mother is? More information. Tell me now. We get a cutscene. I like that. Still one alive. But hasn't it collapsed already? Should it already have been destroyed? Imploded? That is the end. God damn it. Well, obviously it's only the first ending. I will probably hunt up a flowchart. I did this one without a flowchart, so I think that was a good ending though. But presumably there's one ending for each of the characters, maybe, something like that, and then some kind of final ending. That tends to be kind of how they tend to go, especially the Uchikoshi games. The final ending can usually only be reached after all the other endings are reached, so... See, that kid's got question marks. Question mark kid. Alright. We'll wrap this one up here. I'll let the credits roll as usual, and in the next one we'll come back in, start a new game I suppose, and try to work towards some of the other endings. So there'd be skipping. I don't know how the skipping function in this works. Like, I don't think you can just hold control to skip like you can in most other modern visual novels, but we'll figure that out, okay? We'll figure it out. I hope you guys enjoyed the series. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and we'll see you for the next ending run through. Wow, this is great weather. You and I were riding on a boat. The infinitely deep blue ocean spread as far as we could see. A clear blue sky unfolded above us. There was a pair of seagulls flying overhead. The sea breeze whipped at us, a little strongly, and you used her hand to hold her hair in check. She'd recently started to grow her hair out. Somehow it seemed like she might have been starting to look like her mum. That and she seemed to have become a bit more easygoing and ladylike. So how's college going? It's alright, I guess. Yes, I'd somehow gotten into college and was in my first year. Of course, I was going to a different school than you. We never had a chance to meet on campus. Why on earth did you decide to major in archaeology? You really want to know? That's why I'm asking. You know, it might be better if you didn't ask. Huh? You still sure you want to know? Well, then I won't ask. Alright, I won't tell. Huh? Why? Tell me. You just said you weren't gonna ask. That's because you said I probably shouldn't. This is too confusing. You're the one who made this conversation confusing. Anyway, I guess I'll listen to your reason. There she went, changing her mind again. You can be really twisted sometimes. Come on, sound pure at heart. What are you talking about? If you were, then I'd be... Huh? You'd be what? You'd be the pure-hearted kid? Hey, stop it. I'm not like I used to be. But after that I was reluctant to speak. I wondered if I really was different from the person I was at that time. Probably I was. Since then, no inexplicable, mysterious things had happened to me. I couldn't predict things anymore. I'd gotten my memory back. Or maybe I was the same. Maybe I was the same as ever. I knew that people learned, got hurt, and lost things. And they change as they live life. But my basic nature hadn't changed. Some things changed. Some things never did. I was still me, but myself in the past was different. If I had to explain, I might say that it was like me in another world. Maybe that was it. You're right. You're not like you used to be. Now, for one thing, you got so tall. She stood on her tiptoes and raised her hand over my head. I'd grown a head taller over the 2 years. So you're gonna tell me or not? What? About the reason you majored in archaeology? Alright, it's because I want to know myself better. To know yourself? Yeah. To know more about myself at that time. At that time, I thought that it would be best to major in archaeology. The same as you. To better understand the weird stuff that was happening to me. You're not gonna study the third eye. I sure am. I told you. It was probably better that you didn't ask. You haven't changed a bit. I mean, nope, you haven't changed at all. You neither. That reminds me, your clothes are... Huh? The same ones you wore then, right? Yeah, right. There was a thin black stain on the hem of her jacket that remained. It was a memorable stain. A memory. I started to think that as I gazed at the ocean. I thought about the time when I met you. About those unforgettable 7 days. But I should talk about the things that happened after that. After that... For some time, we just stood there enjoying the sunshine on the floating island. The sun looked extremely bright after a week without it. Its rays were warm. At that moment, someone patted me on the shoulder. I turned back and there was... Good morning. Sora? I promised you I would see you again soon, didn't I? But why are you here? Am I bothering you? No, not at all. I'm glad to see you again. Hearing that, Sora smiled gently. I exchanged a handshake with Sora when I met her again. I looked up at the sky above. The clear blue sky seemed to spread on forever. Dr. Tanaka is waiting for you. Please come over here. Oh, you were... The person called Dr. Tanaka that appeared in front of us was the woman I'd seen on the monitor. It was the person who claimed to be Yu's mother. Mother? Yu, I'm so happy you're alive. Why are you... I promised that I would tell you everything when you got to the floating island, right? It's been a long time. What? I wonder if she was talking to me. It seemed like it was the first time that I've met her. Or had I met her in the past? We don't have any memories, so how would we know? What's wrong? Is there something that you'd like to ask? Yes, I have tons of things I want to ask. Fine, don't worry, I'll tell you everything. Alright then, first I want to... Hold on. Wait just a minute. You? First there's something I have to ask. Is that alright? Go ahead. You said that you're not my real mother. You also said that I was your child. There is only one thing I want to ask. Are you my real mother? Dr. Tanaka looked down. She twisted her lips sadly. Which is it? I wonder why you would ask such a thing. She should have already known the answer. I am you. What? I can say this for certain now. I am your mother, you. She stared you in the eyes. She said this. Mother? After a while, we asked Dr. Tanaka question after question. How did we get trapped? Was it an accident or not? How could I predict things? Why did I lose my memory? What happened in my past? Did the girl I'd seen really exist? Who was she? What happened in Yu's past? Did Yu's father and mother really die? If so, then who was she, this Dr. Tanaka? What was the meaning of the haiku poem password? What was Blickwinkle? What was the connection between the TB virus and the accident? And what was the third eye? It was a long, long story. You're thinking about the things that happened then, aren't you? Huh? Yeah. Hey, you. Do you know the proverb, water flows and people live? Water flows from high to lower places. But the flow, its path has an infinite number of possibilities. People live means that, like the water, there are infinite ways for life to flow. That's what it means. If life has infinite possibilities, there might be another me somewhere who has a different history from me in the present. Somewhere. Yeah, say beyond this broad sky, beyond this limitless universe, there should be another universe. Another me in another universe. I was thinking about the other me. Another universe, huh? Hey, if there is another universe like you say, is there another pair of us? in that other world dating like us now? Sure there is. How can you tell? I can tell because I can. You see, if I do this... I drew you close and kissed you. We were floating by the spring sun, clouds floating in the sky, the rippling ocean and the song of the seagulls. I felt everything about you through her skin, her warmth, her scent, her touch, heartbeat and even the colour of her heart. I could see through you completely then. It was exactly the third eye. Ultimate wisdom. Yes, if I do this, then we could transcend time. The story is not at end yet, because only you are in the infinity loop.